Hello and welcome to my review of the Blackstone Fortress, the Dreaded Ambull. This expansion for Blackstone Fortress will cost you £35. It comes in quite a professional kind of package with like a guidebook, also an instruction guide. And what I'll do is I'll just go through the contents. So you get it all packaged neatly in this expansion pack box. You get the Ambull itself, and you get 2 bollworm infestations. You get a card with all of the tokens and things for use of the game. That's pretty good. You also get this kind of backstory of the Dreaded Ambull for use in Warhammer Quest. You get this instruction guide. It's very easy and simple to make, but you also get the Warhammer 40K rules. You get the Lair of the Beast kind of guide as well. It's like a mission where you can use him. And then you've got an event table, so you get that. And you've also got the rewards. If the explorers conquer the Lair of the Beast, they can open the Lair of the Beast envelope. So a little bit of an incentive there with this special envelope. Just here. You also get a load of these cards, these discovery cards. 18 of these discovery cards, ranging from archaeotech, weaponry, specimen status tubes, xenologists or xenologists reports, to spores, and so on. So 18 of those cards, that's pretty good. You get 3 encounter cards, just here. You get 10 exploration cards, which are pretty awesome. Just put them there. Hopefully the card won't fall over. And then you get 3 of the data cards, I suppose, for the Dreaded Ambull in Blackstone Fortress. Was pretty good. You've got the Ambull, the bollworm infestation, and the Ambull enraged. The one thing I will say is I wish it came with a sleeve to put them all in. Blackstone Fortress comes in some really nice sleeves to put specific cards and things in with a seal on the top. And it would be great if there was an Ambull themed sleeve to put these in, rather than just your quite standard plastic pack. That says, cards pack on there. It would have been, I think, a complete package if it had a sleeve in as well. But that's just my minor gripe of the whole kit. Do I think it's worth the money just from the offset? Yeah, definitely. You're getting this model, which, if you take it at face value and you just want the model for 40k, probably not worth it. But as an expansion pack, and for Blackstone Fortress to add a completely new dimension to the game, yeah, it's worth it as a complete package, and it's going to be fun putting him in this this game. So now that I've looked at the package in full, what I'm going to do is have a look at the model close up, and then we're going to do some size comparisons, and I'll go through the Warhammer 40,000 rules for it and the bollworm infestation. So how easy was the model to build? Very easy. If you look at the guide here, you see that he basically comes in about 4 or 5 parts. The bollworm infestations are as easy to build as nurglings, I suppose. So easy kit to build. The one thing I will say is you might have some difficulties with this part of the model. This join here, I've already sanded it down the best I can, but it probably still needs a bit more. But you might see a join there and a join in the shoulder joints, and also this bit, but it kind of like makes it look like it's part of the armor anyway. But you might want to put some extra glue and things in just to tidy it up. Also the mold lines are pretty bad around the rad maggots as well. And around the pincers, and there was even some mold lines in these little feeler things as well. So yeah, there are a few mold lines where you wouldn't really expect there to be, or you don't really want them to be. The bollworms themselves were absolutely fine. They're really quick and easy to put together. If I just show you some close-ups here of them, really cool. These look like little centipedes, I suppose. There's 2 of those, and then this big creature. It's bullworm, and then you've got some rad maggots around the rock that they've burrowed out of. And similar story with this one, but this one's got wings. Actually, they've both got wings, sorry. Yeah, so they've both got wings there, and these horrible like pincers, and only one sort of centipede thing here, or maybe it's a baby one, but there you go. They're the bullworms, horrible looking things. And yeah, the ambull itself, really horrible looking, like insect kind of creature. He almost looks too big for his base, I want to say. I would have thought that they could have got away with a I want to say 60mm base, but this is a 50mm base. Also, on top of this, I would have liked to have a much more scenic base. I know you're probably thinking, well, it's to fit in with Blackstone Fortress, and none of the Blackstone Fortress models have scenic bases. We'll see. I mean, they put some rocks and things there. It would have been nice to have some kind of sand opening kind of thing to, you know, illustrate him burrowing underground quickly, maybe, or some more centipede or bullworms around the base. It's going to be interesting, the next models they bring out for Blackstone Fortress, another expansion pack, I suppose. See whether they follow through with that and they create more scenic bases for whatever models they're going to bring to it. Anyway, really do like the model. Quite a medium sized model, not as big as I thought he would be at all, but it's just nice to have something strange and new to the Warhammer 40,000 kind of universe that we haven't had a model for, you know, and we're seeing that with the human models too, with the priests and the robot in the Blackstone Fortress kit. Anyway, so that's the Ambull. Big fan of this. I think someone said they weren't a fan of these rad maggots, and they chop them off. That's easily done. You can just snip them off and then cut them, and that's fine. Personally, I like them. I think they add to the model because you've got them on the shoulder, you've got them on the forearm, and you've got them on the leg and around the belly. So it's cool that they're sort of, you know, pooling out. And also it lends itself to the fact that they kind of heal him as well. Anyway, that's the Ambull. Let me just show you some size comparisons. So first of all, compared to the models in the Blackstone Fortress kit, I say Imperial models, the Rogue Trader models. So that's Amelin Shadow Guide there on the right, and there's Janus Drake on the left. Yes, he is bigger than them. I mean, Amelin probably goes up to like the forearm when he's crouched over, but again, I would have thought he would be a bit bigger. Sure, he's powerful and his arms are really long, he's got stubby legs, but I just thought he'd be, you know, a bit bigger than that. Anyway, compared to Janus Drake, yeah, fair bit bigger than him. But yeah, that's how big he's going to be compared to, you know, Imperial models. Next to Chaos model, so you've got the Chaos Lord here, Obsidious Malix. Yeah, I suppose he's a fair bit bigger than him. Definitely a lot of bulk going on. So yeah, fair bit bigger than. So he's the biggest kit now, biggest creature in Blackstone Fortress. It can be interesting to see what other models they bring to this game type. Anyway, let's do some size comparisons with other models. So compared to a Space Marine, yeah, he does dwarf a Space Marine, so that's interesting. Next to a Primaris, of course, yeah, he's a fair bit bigger than a Primaris. Next to Marneus Calgar in Primaris, or Primaris Marneus, he is bigger than Marneus, but let's not forget Marneus can pick up a Necron pylon apparently, and you know, aim it at Necrons, use it as a weapon. So yeah, he is bigger than Marneus. So that would be a good matchup, wouldn't it? I'd like to see them go toe to toe. And then obviously next to our Lord and Saviour Sanguinius. No, actually, I haven't built Sanguinius yet. So we have to have Rabute Gilliman himself. Now, Rabute is bigger, okay, but that's because Rabute is on that whopping great big base. So if we put him sort of level, God, that'd be a good match, wouldn't it? Well, Rabute would absolutely pwn him, but that would still be a good little match. You know, size-wise, Rebute's, it's difficult to say, but I want to say probably the Ambull is a little bit taller. But yeah, really, really cool looking models, obviously. But yeah, I thought I'd just bring in a load of size comparisons with the Ambull. But there you go. Okay, now this is my part of the review where I will go through all of his rules. So I won't touch on the Blackstone Fortress rules, but I will go through the Warhammer 40,000 rules, which you can use him in games. So he's an elite choice and a power points cost of a 4. The Boreworm Infestation is a power points cost of a 1, which of course you're going to include an additional 1, so that's 2. So overall for him and these two, it's power points cost of a 6. If you want to use them in match play, the Ambull costs you 70 points, which is very decent actually, and the Boreworm Infestation is 12 points per model, so that's 24 points overall. This selection will cost you 94 points. So the Ambull himself then, or itself, his stat line reads: movement of 6 inches, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill is 6+, not even sure why he has ballistic skill to be fair, strength 6, toughness 6, wounds 7, attacks 4, leadership 6, and a save of 3+. An Ambull is a single model armed with enormous claws. The enormous claws, it's a melee weapon, strength user, so that'd be 6, AP is -3, and damage is D3. No abilities with that though, unfortunately, like poisoning or anything like that. That would have been cool, right? Or extra wounds, or, you know, mortal wounds even. They're missing a trick there. They should have put something like that in there. Abilities: rapid tunneling. At the start of your movement phase, you can remove this model from the battlefield. At the end of your next movement phase, set it up again anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. That's pretty good. So at the start of your movement phase, you don't need to move him. You can just hide him, and then for the next movement phase, you can just teleport around the battlefield, but it has to be more than 9 inches. So it has to be, you know, 10 inches basically. Rad Maggot Symbiosis. At the start of each battle round, this model gains D3 lost wounds. That's pretty good because he's got 7 wounds, and statistically you're going to be getting 2 wounds at the start of each battle round. And also you can factor in tunneling him, you know, so you can get him out of enemy fire. His keywords: unaligned, Dreaded Ambull, monster, and Ambull. Yeah, comparing him to like a Dreadnought, which, you know, a Dreadnought does have a ballistic skill. It's the same movement speed, same weapon skill, same strength, but a Dreadnought is better toughness, it's got more wounds, same attacks, better leadership, but the same save. And a Dreadnought obviously has the Dreadnought close combat weapon, which is a strength 12, which is also AP -3 and a damage 3. Now I don't know whether I should be comparing him to a Dreadnought, but a Dreadnought can take an assault cannon or heavy flame or missile launcher even, and the Dreadnought is more power points costs, but bearing in mind the Dreadnought, you know, has that ballistic skill, has a better toughness, but it can't teleport around. So in a way he's kind of like a Dreadnought, but with a lower strength, you know, strength 6, and instead of damage 3, he's got a damage D3, but let's face it, it's going to be 2 most of the time. And also the Dreadnought can't repair those lost wounds. Yeah, the Dreadnought costs more power points. So he's kind of like a Dreadnought that doesn't have any ranged weaponry, that can teleport and can self-heal. Also, important to note, he doesn't have an invulnerable save, which again I find is really bizarre. So he can take these wounds, his save is same as a Space Marine, but he doesn't have an armoured, you know, an invulnerable save at all. Doesn't benefit from cover that much. It's really odd, and his claws are just, you know, a worse version of the Dreadnought close combat weapon. So it's really bizarre. I think they could have added something with an invulnerable save, or they could have added something with the claws. I just think they could have added more to his particular rules. Anyway, on to the Boreworm Infestation. They are also an elite choice, a power points cost of a 1, a match play points cost of 12 each, and obviously there's 2 there, so that'll be 24 points. Their movement is 4 inches, so they're slower than the Ambull. Their weapon skill is 4+, ballistic skill 6+, strength 3, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 5, and a save of 4+. Unit contains 1 Boreworm Infestation and can include up to 1 additional Boreworm Infestation. Each model is armed with Vicious Claws. So the Vicious Claws is just strength of the user, which is 3, unfortunately, AP 0, and damage 1. Each time you make a wound, roll of a 6+ for this weapon, that hit is resolved at AP -2 instead. That helps, of course, you know, and they get 3 attacks, so that's 6 attacks, but you have to make a wound. And with a strength of 3, that's not going to be that easily done. The abilities then, rapid tunneling. At the start of your movement phase, you can remove this unit from the battlefield. At the end of your next movement phase, set it up again, anywhere on the battlefield, more than 9 inches away from enemy models. Hard to hit. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls for ranged weapons that target this unit. So that's pretty good as well. Keywords, unaligned, Dreaded Ambull, Swarm, Boreworm, and Infestation. They're a nice little extra to have to the Ambull. You have to subtract 1 from the hit rolls against them. The great news is obviously you could have 6 of them. You could have 3 lots of 2, because it doesn't say anywhere in the rules that they have to be with the Ambull at all. You can teleport them around the battlefield, just causing a bit of havoc. I say a bit of havoc, their weapon skill's only 4+, and their movement is very slow. They haven't got the best save, but they've got a decent number of attacks where you can get AP -2. So that, again, like the Ambull, they don't do anything special. This is what I was hoping they'd do, like drag people underground, or the Ambull would... Look at that weapon there. Look at those pincers. Why didn't Games Workshop just say, okay, instead of using its enormous claws, it can choose to use its man pincers or something like that, and on a roll of 5+ or something, it inflicts 1 mortal wound. They could have just been more creative, I think, because he's got these massive pincers. They could have done something about the eyesight, maybe, in terms of removing cover saves, maybe? I don't know. Or striking first, or... I don't know, they just could have done something extra, especially with those big pincers, which are bigger than the claws. I think it needed an extra ability in terms of, in melee, either poison claws or a mortal wounding pincer attack. I think they do these kind of things with Tyranids, and it's a shame that they couldn't do it with the Ambull in 40k. Like I said, to me, it seems like a less powerful Dreadnought that can teleport around the battle and regain lost wounds. But it's going to be a huge target, put it that way. Even though it can't do that much damage in close combat, it is going to be a target, definitely. And that's all I wanted to say about the Dreaded Ambull. What do you guys think of the model, the rules, and its use in Blackstone Fortress? What do you think of the expansion pack idea? Do you think this is a good move from Games Workshop to have these kind of expansion packs for existing games? Put it in the comments below, it'd be great to hear from you. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.